Deeptika Laurent is here in studio to take us through the main newspapers. Deepti, let's start with the European elections. It's making a lot of headlines in the papers today.
Yeah, in particular, Sharon, a focus on the far right, or what this French paper La Croix calls the sort of rise of the sovereigns, if you like, which is kind of a nice way of saying the rise of the far right. Here is going with that picture of Giorgia Meloni, the Italian leader, shaking hands with European Commissioner Ursula von der Leyen. Meloni is largely credited with normalizing the far right, at least in Italy, and for fostering closer ties with Europe. Since voters are mostly searching for a Europe that will protect them, these far right parties have largely shelved their plans for European exits. That's what La Croix says. Here in France, Marine Le Pen and her National Rally party have a comfortable lead just a month before European elections. Now, Le Monde, another French paper, has actually put together a sort of a list, or in this article here, portraits of 9 different European far-right leaders or MPs who are vying for a seat in next month's elections. Those include key players from Poland and the PIS party, to Germany's AfD party, La Liga in Italy, to Spain and Romania, where they talk about a man called Cristian Terhes, a former priest turned journalist and now a politician who's heading the list of ultra-nationalists in the country.
As we've been hearing, Deepti, Israel's participation in the Eurovision Song Contest has been making waves, sparking protests in Malmo, the host city. Talk to us about how that's been covered in the papers.
Well, it's an interesting article from the Washington Post today, which obviously, focuses on those protests that have engulfed the Swedish city of Malmo just a day ahead of Eurovision's final this weekend. Now, they are, of course, opposing the participation of Israel's candidate Eden Golan in Eurovision, accusing Israel of having blood on its hands and calling for a ceasefire in Gaza. Now, the Washington Post actually notes that Golan herself is at the crossroads of not just one conflict, but 2 conflicts, because she is an Israeli, but she was born to a Ukrainian mother. And until the war in Ukraine, she was actually very popular in Russia. The song she's performing was initially called October Rain, in reference to last year's Hamas attack. It was changed to Hurricane, but that won't stop this Eurovision from being quite possibly, as the Washington Post says, one of the most politically charged in its nearly 7-decade history, Sharon.
Politics too in Dublin, Deepti. Trinity College there, it's agreed to divest from its Israeli businesses in a bid to end protests on the college campus.
Well, that's in the Telegraph today. That's right. That wave of pro-Palestinian college protests that we saw in the US has, of course, spread to other countries, including Ireland, where students set up tents on the grounds of Trinity College in Dublin. Like in the US, they were demanding an end to the war and that their university divests from pro-Israeli businesses. The board at Trinity College has agreed to divest from 3 Israeli companies and will offer 8 free spots to students from Gaza to pursue their education. And in this publication called Jacobin, which is a left-wing socialist print magazine, David Landy, who's an academic at Trinity College, explains how the student movement came together to convince its college to divest peacefully, quite a contrast to some of the images we've seen in some of those US colleges. Their movement, he explains, is not a knee-jerk reaction, but was years in the making, supporting BDS, boycott, divest and sanctions, since at least 2015. Landy, as you see there, calling it a win, a victory for Palestine.
Okay, let's move on, Deepti. Our next story, it's about when arts meets politics. In Australia, a women's-only exhibition has faced backlash from some male visitors.
Yeah, exactly. It's called the Ladies' Lounge, Sharon, and it is a green velvet room inside Tasmania's Museum of Old and New Art. The Ladies' Lounge opened in 2020 and was meant to be a statement about gender discrimination, but more a statement about the discrimination that women face. Then a male visitor complained that it was discriminatory to men, and a local court actually ordered the museum to make the space open to all. The curator of the exhibit, though, has vowed to go to the state Supreme Court to appeal this decision. In the meantime, she said she's exploiting some loopholes in Tasmania's Anti-Discrimination Act to ensure that her ladies' lounge can stay 100% ladies only. That could include installing a toilet in the room and also making it a church, both which allow her exemptions to keep operating as a women's only space.
Finally, from you, Deepti, the finalists of this year's Pet Comedy Photo Awards have been unveiled. Who's in the running there?
Well, lots and lots of domestic animals, as you can imagine, Sharon. This is a fun, good-natured competition to raise awareness about animal welfare and celebrate our beloved pets. It's from the organizers of the Comedy Wildlife Photography Awards, something that we've also talked about before. So these are the finalists of 2024. You have quite a interesting bunch. You have these very cute cats tearing up the toilet paper. At least you also have this kind of illusion type of photo, a horse that seems to have lost its head, definitely a front runner. One of my favorites is this camera-shy rat, which I think is really cute. And you also have this one, I guess you could say, like owner, like pet, Sharon.
My money's on the headless horse, I think, Deepti. Thank you so much for that. That's Deepti Laurent joining us there with the press review.